Egypt is massive. We are looking at a landscape holding 5,000 years of continuous history, over 20 million people in the capital alone, and a river system stretching thousands of miles. If you treat this country like a standard one-week vacation and try to check off every single major monument, you will hit a wall. The sheer scale of the environment and the constant logistical friction guarantee physical exhaustion before your trip is even half over. To navigate it successfully, you have to explicitly balance your pace of travel against what you want to extract from the trip, whether that is dense historical exploration or pure leisure. Attempting to sit directly in the middle and do everything at once is where the traveler breaks down. The logistics pull you in opposite directions, and the trip fractures. We can solve this by dividing Egypt into 3 distinct travel zones. This framework allows you to allocate your days based entirely on your specific tolerance for friction. If you do not actively curate your itinerary right now, the crowds, the traffic, and the country's vast geography will dictate your schedule for you. Cairo is a sprawling metropolis of over 20 million people. Simply navigating its streets requires intense mental energy to process the heavy traffic and the sheer volume of pedestrians. The sensory input rarely stops. Inside the Khan el-Khalili market, which has operated continuously for over 700 years, you are walking shoulder to shoulder through tight alleys, saturated with sounds, smells, and aggressive commerce. You tolerate that urban density for one specific payoff: direct access to the pyramids of Giza. These structures were built 4,500 years ago using 2.3 million individual stone blocks, some weighing up to 15 tons. Yet the gaps between the stones are less than 1 millimeter thick. The Great Sphinx sits right next door as the mandatory companion piece. Carved from a single massive rock outcropping, it forces you to spend hours fully exposed on the plateau to take in the sight. The upside to the dense city life is immediate access to authentic street food. You eat exactly what the locals eat, relying on cheap, heavy staples like koshari and spiced ful madames to keep you moving. Evaluating Cairo on our matrix, it operates on extreme friction. It yields a massive historical payoff, but it subjects you to a severe energy drain. You go to Cairo to stand in front of the largest monuments on Earth. Because of the chaotic environment surrounding them, it is a terrible place to go if you actually want to relax. Moving south into the Nile River corridor, the urban sprawl cuts off. You enter thousands of miles of quiet agricultural waterways. The logistics here are rigid. To explore this zone properly, travelers rely on multi-day river cruises, which completely tether you to fixed docking schedules and strict early morning call times. The outcome of that structure is high efficiency. You gain direct access to dense archaeological sites like Karnak Temple, navigating through 134 massive stone pillars that reach up to 21 meters high.
Across the river is the Valley of the Kings. Over 63 royal tombs are clustered together, hidden deep within an incredibly harsh desert landscape. The wealth pulled from this specific dirt was staggering. Items like Tutankhamun's gold and blue funerary masks survived here perfectly intact for over 3 millennia. The biggest geographical hurdle in this region is reaching the Temple of Abu Simbel, sitting far down at the southern border. The temple is famous for a biannual solar alignment that illuminates its inner chambers. Witnessing it requires a punishing 3 a.m. desert convoy ride, or an expensive extra flight. The temple itself represents a modern engineering miracle. In the 1960s, the entire massive structure was cut out of the mountain block by block and relocated to save it from floodwaters. Looking at the matrix, the Luxor to Aswan corridor operates on medium friction. It delivers maximum antiquity, but it sacrifices your spontaneity. Upper Egypt holds the highest concentration of historical wonders in the country, but it demands that you completely surrender control of your daily schedule to the cruise operators. The final zone sits on the eastern coast, in cities like Sharm el-Sheikh and Hurghada. This environment is a total departure from the ancient world. Accessing it requires a distinct logistical input. You must allocate 3 to 4 days of your timeline and a dedicated flight budget just to cross the desert to the water. The payoff is physical comfort. You get world-class luxury resorts, extensive coral reef scuba diving, and ocean water with up to 15 meters of clear visibility. The local cuisine shifts entirely to match the coast.
moving to fresh sea bass roasted over coals and rich tahini dips. The trade-off here is absolute. By choosing the eastern coast, you are accepting zero access to ancient Egyptian history. On the Matrix, the Red Sea is strictly low friction and maximum leisure, with zero historical value. It is the definitive cure for ruin fatigue and physical exhaustion. However, prioritizing it geographically and culturally isolates you from the core of the Egyptian experience. Building your itinerary requires answering one question: are you constrained by time or energy? If time, you're the optimizer. Restrict your trip to a short burst in Cairo and an efficient 3-day Nile cruise. You miss the deep desert temples, but you protect your sanity. But if you have time and want maximum culture, you're the historian. You double down on Cairo, spend an extended week in Aswan, and endure the convoy to Abu Simbel. You accept extreme exhaustion to secure the maximum historical return. But if your limit is physical energy, you're the leisure seeker. You execute a rapid 1-day Giza flyby, then immediately transit to a Red Sea resort. You sacrifice the authentic pulse of the modern cities and the deep tombs to guarantee a vacation that actually restores your energy. Egypt demands a massive investment of your physical energy. By ruthlessly cutting out the zones that do not match your profile, you ensure that your investment actually yields a trip you will enjoy.